Imagine stumbling upon a sight so strange, so unexpected, that it feels like something out of a science fiction film. That's precisely what happened when eagle-eyed explorers using Google Earth discovered what appeared to be a colossal pyramid rising from the icy plains of Antarctica. Almost instantly, the internet ignited with speculation. Could this be evidence of an alien presence? Was it a relic of a lost civilization? Or perhaps something even more extraordinary? The theories flew thick and fast, each more outlandish than the last. Intriguingly, this wasn't the first time such a structure had been identified in Antarctica. The British Antarctic expedition, way back in the 1910s, had observed a similar formation, but its discovery remained shrouded in secrecy for decades. This veil of mystery only deepened the intrigue surrounding the continent's hidden wonders. Then, in 2016, a second pyramid-like structure emerged, further fueling the debate. But what was the truth behind these enigmatic formations? Eventually, scientists stepped in to unravel the mystery. The answer, while less sensational than some might have hoped, was no less fascinating. These pyramids are, in fact, mountains. They are part of the Ellsworth Mountains, a range stretching over 250 miles. These are simply mountain peaks that have managed to break through the immense ice sheet that blankets the continent. As for their pyramid shape, that's just a trick of nature, a remarkable coincidence. Pyramid-shaped mountains exist in other parts of the world, such as the iconic Matterhorn in the Alps and Mount Balfell in Iceland. These natural formations share similar characteristics. The official name for these rocky peaks protruding through the ice is nunataks. Antarctica is a land of superlatives, holding within its icy grip a staggering 60 to 90% of the world's fresh water. This is because its ice sheet is the largest on Earth, covering an area of approximately 5.4 million square miles. To put that in perspective, only a tiny 1% of the continent remains ice-free. The ice itself is immense, reaching a depth of 2.7 miles at its thickest point. That's half the height of Mount Everest. Should this colossal ice sheet ever melt completely, global sea levels would rise by an estimated 200 feet. But it wasn't always a frozen wasteland. Millions of years ago, Antarctica enjoyed a climate similar to that of modern-day Melbourne. Scientists believe that temperatures could have soared as high as 62.6 degrees Fahrenheit. This was during a period when dinosaurs still roamed the Earth, some 40 to 50 million years ago. Even time itself behaves differently on this remote continent. All the lines of longitude used to calculate time zones converge at the South Pole. This creates a unique situation where there are 6 months of daylight during the summer, followed by 6 months of complete darkness in the winter. As a result, scientists stationed there often stick to the time zone of their home country for convenience. Imagine a waterfall, not of water, but of blood. These are the blood falls, a series of crimson cascades in one of Antarctica's driest regions. The source of this eerie phenomenon is an underground lake teeming with unique bacteria. These microorganisms thrive by using sulfates instead of sugars for energy, making them a subject of intense scientific interest. The water in the lake is saturated with iron, which rusts upon contact with the air, giving the falls their distinctive reddish hue and their macabre name. Now, let's talk about a creature that thankfully never patrolled the Antarctic waters, the megalodon, Carcharocles megalodon. This colossal shark was the largest predator ever to exist on our planet. While the megalodon roamed the oceans worldwide, its teeth have never been found in Antarctica. This is likely because this gigantic creature preferred warmer, tropical, and subtropical waters. If you ever find yourself planning a voyage to Antarctica, remember this crucial detail. Your vessel must be constructed of steel or aluminum. These robust materials are necessary to withstand the extreme weather conditions and potential hazards of the icy seas. And finally, consider the insect life of Antarctica, or rather, the lack thereof. There's only one true insect species that calls this frozen land home, a wingless midge called Belgica antarctica. This tiny fly, measuring only 0.08 to 0.23 inches in length, holds the distinction of being Antarctica's largest terrestrial animal. But the adaptations don't stop there. Many fish in the Antarctic waters possess a remarkable adaptation, antifreeze compounds in their blood. These aren't just for enduring the frigid temperatures. They primarily serve as protection against contact with ice itself. Imagine these antifreezes as microscopic bodyguards. They're composed of large, glycoprotein molecules, and their job is to surround any minuscule ice crystals that dare to form within the fish's tissues. This prevents the crystals from spreading and causing potentially devastating damage. Furthermore, these glycoproteins act as miniature shock absorbers, cushioning the sharp edges of ice crystals, minimizing any potential pain for the creature. And it's not only about what's beneath the ice. Above, the Antarctic sky holds its own icy secrets. While rainfall is scarce in this frozen realm, Antarctica boasts a unique meteorological phenomenon: diamond dust. Picture this as a shimmering icy fog composed of tiny ice crystals that emerge from humid air near the ground. As these crystals dance in the air and catch the sunlight, they erupt in a dazzling sparkle, creating the illusion of being surrounded by countless diamonds. A breathtaking, albeit frigid spectacle. In a place seemingly inhospitable to human life, nature still finds a way. Believe it or not, the first human birth on the continent occurred in 1978. Emil Marco Palma entered the world on this icy expanse, and since then, 10 more individuals have been born in Antarctica. Even the lakes of Antarctica possess extraordinary qualities. Some are so saturated with salt that they defy freezing, even when temperatures plummet to a bone-chilling 15 degrees Celsius, 5 degrees Celsius. Pure water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius, 32 degrees Celsius. But the presence of salt, or any other substance, disrupts this process, requiring significantly lower temperatures for ice to form. The precise freezing point depends on the specific substance and its concentration within the water. Antarctica holds the distinction of being the last continent officially discovered, remaining unseen until the 1820s. However, it took another 2 decades to definitively confirm its continental status, dispelling the initial belief that it was merely a cluster of icy islands. And who says romance can't blossom in the most unlikely of places? One December evening, an American scientist stationed in Antarctica decided to browse a dating app, purely out of curiosity. He fully expected to find no other users. To his astonishment, he stumbled upon another researcher located just a 45-minute helicopter ride away. Naturally, they connected and embarked on what is believed to be the first recorded date in Antarctica. Beyond its icy facade, Antarctica holds another surprising treasure: meteorites. Scientific research indicates that meteorites have an equal probability of landing anywhere on Earth. However, the journey through our atmosphere introduces complexities. Humid climates, like those found near jungles, contain abundant moisture and oxygen, accelerating the corrosion of meteorites. In contrast, Antarctica's exceptionally dry climate significantly reduces the risk of corrosion. Moreover, the stark white surface of the continent makes these space rocks far easier to spot than in virtually any other location on Earth. If the cold doesn't deter you, the ferocious winds might. Antarctica is, for the most part, the windiest place on the planet. Wind speeds here have been known to reach a staggering 320 kilometers per hour, 200 mph. Now, imagine diving into the inky depths of the Antarctic Ocean. A breathtakingly blue darkness envelopes you, reminiscent of the infinite expanse of space. In this environment, where you might least expect to encounter life, a strange and powerful sound pierces the silence. It's a quacking noise, akin to a colossal duck hidden in the abyss. In 1960, researchers first documented this enigmatic sound, dubbing it the bioduck. For decades, they wrestled with its origins. Was it a colossal kraken lurking in the depths? An extraterrestrial spacecraft that crashed into the ocean? A mysterious sea monster of unimaginable proportions? Or perhaps, just perhaps, an enormous duck? The theories were abundant, each more outlandish than the last. Oceanographers have since detected similar sounds in other locations. Imagine the scene: research vessels bobbing on the waves off the western coast of Australia and near New Zealand. Here, scientists detected strange, high-pitched signals. They dubbed them Biogoose. Perhaps not the most intimidating name, but these sounds were far from ordinary. These weren't isolated events. They occurred repeatedly, at consistent intervals. Many initially suspected a mechanical origin, given the rhythmic nature of the signals. However, probing the ocean depths in the late 20th century was no easy feat due to limited technology. Nevertheless, driven by an insatiable scientific curiosity, researchers persisted in gathering data on bioduck and biogoose. As the data grew, so did the theories. Eventually, the mystery began to unravel. Bioduck turned out to be a form of communication with a biological source. Analyzing the repeating sounds, researchers made a crucial observation. The signals never overlapped. One would transmit, then remain silent while others responded, suggesting an intricate form of communication. The question remained: which ocean creature possessed such an extraordinary method of communicating through varied frequency sounds? The answer, as many suspected, was whales. Scientists compared the bioduck sounds from Antarctica with the vocalizations of minke whales, Balænoptera acuterostrata, and found striking similarities. The biogoose sounds from the waters off Australia and New Zealand likely belong to other species, or perhaps very young minke whales. This discovery, however, only deepened the mystery. What purpose did these sounds serve? Were the whales discussing their next meal? Exchanging whale jokes about the strange humans recording their voices? Or perhaps sharing profound insights about the universe? The possibilities were endless, but the most astonishing revelation was the potential for humans to one day communicate with these magnificent creatures. And that day may be closer than we think. Scientists from the University of California have already established contact with a humpback whale, Megaptera novaeanglii, named Twain. In a groundbreaking experiment, researchers engaged in a 20-minute conversation with the marine mammal. Here's how it unfolded. The specialists embarked on a marine expedition to the coast of Alaska, where they recorded the sounds of a group of humpback whales. Then, they played these sounds back through speakers, sending the signals into the ocean. These recorded sounds resembled a greeting, a "Hey, what's up?" in whale language. These greetings are used by whales to call to each other or to indicate their location. Soon after sending the signals, the researchers received a response. Twain approached the boat, circled it, and replied with a hey of its own. This marked the beginning of the first ever human-whale conversation. For 20 minutes, the scientists sent 36 signals to Twain, and each time the whale responded. Moreover, it maintained consistent time intervals before answering. The team would send a signal, wait 10 seconds, and then Twain would respond. It seems Twain was a very polite conversationalist, a true gentleman of the sea. Or perhaps it was simply intrigued by the unusual interaction. The signals used in this communication belonged to a group of whales that included Twain. It's likely that the researchers had recorded Twain's own sounds and used them to communicate with it. In a sense, Twain was conversing with itself. Now, let's continue our journey and venture into the deepest oceanic trench on Earth, the Mariana Trench. As a quick reminder, the Mariana Trench is a colossal chasm in the ocean floor, stretching over 2,500 miles south of Japan and reaching a depth of nearly 36,000 feet at its deepest point. To put that into perspective, the height of the Burj Khalifa, the world's tallest building, is only about 1/10 of the Mariana Trench's depth. Now, try to imagine this scene playing out in the crushing darkness of the ocean's abyss. Here, scientists have detected a bizarre sound, something utterly alien. It wasn't the call of any known sea creature. This sound, it was like something ripped from the pages of a science fiction novel. A deep, resonating rumble, echoing through the water, followed by a sharp, metallic ping. It was a sound that brought to mind spaceships and futuristic technology. Researchers, intrigued and baffled, dubbed this strange phenomenon biotwang. The first recording of this unsettling sound occurred in 2014 during an acoustic survey of the Mariana Trench, the deepest point on Earth. Initially, its source remained a mystery, but soon the team identified the culprits. Whales. specifically bride's whales, Balanopterus edeni. Using sophisticated artificial intelligence, researchers analyzed nearly 200,000 hours of audio recordings from the ocean depths. The AI found matching sound patterns originating from a pod of bride's whales. Like other creatures of the deep, these whales use sound as a primary means of communication, broadcasting complex messages across vast distances. And can you imagine what else turned up at the bottom of the Mariana Trench? A discarded plastic bottle. No kraken, no monstrous leviathan, no ancient sea beast deposited it there. The truth is far more mundane, far more disappointing. Human pollution. But let's save that grim tale for another time. Now, let's turn our attention to another mystery, another sound. This time, we leave the whales behind and focus on a noise emanating from the loneliest place on Earth. A place called Point Nemo. Located in the vast expanse of the South Pacific Ocean, Point Nemo holds the distinction of being the spot most distant from any landmass. The nearest island lies a staggering 1,450 nautical miles away. To put that in perspective, that's about the same distance from land in virtually every direction. Furthermore, this remote location suffers from a scarcity of marine life. Weak water currents mean few vital nutrients reach this spot, creating a veritable underwater desert. It was here, in 1997, that oceanographers recorded a truly bizarre and unsettling sound emanating from the depths near Point Nemo. Something colossal, something unknown. It was quickly dubbed the bloop. As soon as news of this phenomenon reached the ears of journalists, the world erupted with speculation. The most popular theory was a monstrous sea creature, a colossal squid like the kraken of legend, or some other terrifying leviathan lurking in the abyss. However, the hype surrounding the bloop didn't last forever. Scientists eventually managed to unravel the mystery behind the sound. The source, it turned out, was an iceberg. When massive icebergs crack and break apart, they generate powerful, ultra-low-frequency sounds that can travel immense distances through the ocean. To confirm this, scientists recorded the sounds of other icebergs, and the results were strikingly similar to the infamous bloop. But here's another strange fact about Point Nemo. It's so remote, so isolated, that space agencies use it as a dumping ground for defunct satellites. When satellites reach the end of their operational life, they are intentionally crashed into this area. The odds of any animal or human being harmed by falling debris in this desolate location are vanishingly small, a mere 1%. This is why Point Nemo is often referred to as the spacecraft cemetery. But what if, someday, a spaceship from another planet were to crash into Point Nemo? What if such a vessel has already fallen and is now emitting a distress signal that occasionally punches through the ocean depths? All the mysteries we've explored thus far have been solved, their secrets brought to light. But how about we conclude this journey with a mystery that continues to baffle scientists to this day? Let us introduce you to upsweep, one of the most enigmatic sounds ever recorded in the ocean. This isn't just random noise. It's a series of distinct, sharp, ascending tones, repeated at intervals of several seconds. First discovered in 1991 using hydrophones strategically placed in the Pacific Ocean, upsweep immediately stumped oceanographers. Initially, researchers speculated that upsweep might be linked to volcanic activity or underwater earthquakes. However, the seasonal nature of the sound, its intensity fluctuating with the time of year, quickly ruled out those explanations. Attention then turned to the biological realm, with scientists exploring potential connections to the migration patterns and behaviors of marine animals. Yet despite countless hours of research and analysis, the source of upsweep remains elusive. Some studies suggest it may be linked to a specific species of whale, but definitive proof continues to evade us. Imagine the depths of the ocean, where strange sounds echo through the water. Could these mysterious noises be linked to specific fish or other marine creatures, their calls and signals bouncing off the ocean floor? While the idea tantalizes, definitive proof remains elusive. Now, let's shift our focus from the familiar blue planet to the vast expanse of space. You might think NASA's gaze is solely fixed on distant stars, planets swirling in far-off galaxies, and the enigmatic pull of black holes. But believe it or not, this agency also dedicates its resources to groundbreaking discoveries right here on Earth. And what has NASA unearthed recently? Prepare to be amazed. Beneath the seemingly barren, icy surface of Antarctica, they've discovered something truly extraordinary. This revelation isn't just a minor finding, it has the potential to reshape our understanding of Earth's entire water system. Furthermore, it could hold vital clues for the search for life beyond our planet. The fate of humanity may well depend on unraveling the secrets hidden within Antarctica's frozen embrace. These recent discoveries are providing crucial insights into our very survival. But before we delve deeper, let's test your knowledge of this icy realm, a place where ice stretches as far as the eye can see. Antarctica, one of the 7 continents, resides in the southern hemisphere. It ranks as the 5th largest continent, boasting a total area nearly twice the size of Australia. If you're a meteorite enthusiast, Antarctica is your ultimate destination. Thanks to its exceptionally dry climate, it provides unparalleled conditions for observing the cosmos. But the real treasure lies on its surface. Meteorites scattered across the white expanse. Scientists have already collected approximately 45,000 meteorites from the ice, and they estimate that another 300,000 await discovery. The scarcity of terrestrial rocks makes spotting these dark-colored space travelers relatively easy. Antarctica's arid, desert-like environment also plays a crucial role in preserving these extraterrestrial visitors, even those that plummeted to Earth over 1 million years ago. Volcanic activity in Antarctica. It seems a contradiction, a place where fire meets ice. Yet West Antarctica is a hotspot for such activity. Scientists have identified a staggering 138 volcanoes lurking beneath the ice in this region alone. While we often picture Antarctica as perpetually frozen, its coastal regions can experience surprisingly mild temperatures, reaching up to 50 degrees, 10 degrees. Have you ever pondered what Antarctica would look like without its icy cloak? It might seem an impossible scenario, but the continent wasn't always entombed in ice. That distant past, some 34 million years ago, remains shrouded in mystery. NASA, however, has peered into this lost world. Through sophisticated computer simulations, they've generated the most accurate map to date of Antarctica's hidden terrain. The results were astounding. Far from being the flat, featureless expanse we imagine, the continent is a tapestry of valleys, rolling plains, and towering mountains. But this was merely a prelude to the true revelation, the discovery made beneath Antarctica's icy depths. So, what did NASA find? Drumroll intensifies. NASA has located not one, but 2 new subglacial lakes. What's even more remarkable is that they detected these hidden bodies of water from space. How did they achieve this incredible feat? The answer lies in cutting-edge satellite technology. In 2003, NASA launched a satellite named ICESat, designed to measure ice sheet mass balance and cloud and aerosol heights. This satellite also played a crucial role in creating the ice-free map of Antarctica. Then, in 2010, the European Space Agency launched Cryosat-2, a satellite dedicated to tracking changes in ice thickness. Building on these advancements, NASA launched ICESat-2 in 2018, a successor to the original ICESat. This spacecraft measured ice sheet elevation and sea ice thickness, representing NASA's most advanced Earth-observing laser instrument. By combining the high-precision data from ICESat-2 with information from the other satellites, scientists were able to identify these 2 previously unknown lakes, nestled near a pair of larger, established subglacial lakes. But how can these lakes exist beneath miles of ice? The average thickness of Antarctic ice hovers around 1.2 miles, 1.9 kilometers. But in some areas, it can exceed 1.8 miles, 2.9 kilometers. Imagine a world of ice, a seemingly barren landscape. Antarctica. You might think nothing stirs beneath the frozen surface, especially during the long, dark winters. But science reveals a hidden world. Though invisible to the naked eye, the continent's immense ice sheet is in constant motion, driven by its own colossal weight. For years, the mechanics of this movement remained a mystery. Then, in 2007, data from ice-penetrating satellites began to unveil the secrets hidden beneath. Scientists discovered an intricate network of meltwater lakes, interconnected beneath Antarctica's rapidly flowing ice streams. Hundreds of these lakes exist, teeming with potential. Dr. Helen Amanda Fricker, a glaciologist at the Scripps Institution of Oceanography, realized that elevation changes measured by satellite were linked to the dynamic behavior of these subglacial lakes. These weren't static bodies of water. Instead, they were continuously filling and draining, linked by a complex system of subterranean waterways. As these lakes swelled and subsided, the ice above rose and fell in response. And where does this water ultimately flow? To the ocean, of course. The scale of this drainage is staggering. A recent study, co-authored by Dr. Fricker, revealed that the drainage of a single lake released a staggering 198 billion gallons of water into the ocean in just 3 days. Countless mysteries about our planet remain unsolved, but the discovery of these new lakes offers a crucial window into the future of the Antarctic ice sheet. As the global climate warms, understanding these processes is vital to predicting how quickly the ice will melt and how this will impact global ocean currents and sea levels. The cyclical filling and draining of these lakes also causes stress fractures and crevasses in the ice sheet above. Studying these lakes will provide invaluable insights into the structural integrity of the ice and how this process influences the speed at which ice slides into the ocean. This, in turn, will allow scientists to evaluate how the influx of fresh water might alter delicate marine ecosystems. This discovery also raises an intriguing question. Could life exist beneath the ice? In one experiment, scientists drilled through approximately 354 feet of ice and found that water samples taken from one of the lakes contained approximately 10,000 bacterial cells per milliliter. Such a high concentration of bacterial life is a promising sign, suggesting that these icy waters might also support more complex organisms, perhaps even microscopic animals. One of these newly discovered lakes might even be their home. But perhaps the most exciting prospect is the potential to understand the possibility of life on other planets. Scientists believe that any life existing beneath the frozen surface of Mars might follow similar patterns to those observed in Antarctica's subglacial lakes. These studies could provide critical new information about the types of life that may have once existed or may still exist on the Red Planet. You wouldn't want to find yourself stranded there during the winter. The lowest temperature ever recorded on Earth was a bone-chilling 180°, and in 2010, an even more extreme temperature of 103 °C was recorded. The strong, dry winds can make these temperatures feel even more unbearable. The size of Antarctica's ice surface also fluctuates dramatically throughout the year. During the summer, it covers approximately 1.2 million square miles. But in winter, it expands to a colossal 7.3 million square miles. Despite this seasonal variation, it remains the largest single mass of ice on our planet. Sorry, Arctic, you lose this round. And what about those cute waddling penguins? They are the true locals of Antarctica. There is no native human population, making it a no-man's land. No single country owns it. But who truly holds dominion over this icy realm? 5 different species of penguins, seals, and killer whales rule this landscape. Despite the continent's formidable conditions, it's possible to visit Antarctica as a tourist, for fishing expeditions, or for scientific research. Around 5,000 people reside on the continent during the summer months, working at various research stations. But when winter arrives, as the millennia turned into eons, the number dwindled to almost nothing, a mere memory. Now, let's journey to the bottom of the world, to Antarctica. This continent's icy embrace holds approximately 70% of the planet's fresh water. Imagine, if you will, the catastrophic event should this ice melt entirely. Global sea levels would surge by nearly 200 feet. But Antarctica is more than just penguins and an endless expanse of white. A hidden world, a ghost of the past, lies entombed beneath the ice. Look closely at the globe. Don't mistake Antarctica for the Arctic, perched at the top of our maps. The Arctic is far smaller and, frankly, lacks the enigma of its southern counterpart. The ice sheet that blankets Antarctica ranges from 1 to 3 miles in thickness. Picture up to 16 Eiffel Towers stacked one atop another. This colossal frozen shroud conceals the true landscape of Antarctica. Even today, much of this mysterious continent remains unexplored, its secrets guarded by ice and snow. We still lack a complete understanding of its shape and size. Mapping Antarctica without the aid of truly gigantic shovels is a monumental undertaking. However, satellite technology has allowed us to pierce the icy veil, revealing a dramatic ancient landscape hidden beneath. Let's journey back 90 million years. Antarctica was then a vastly different world, a warm, verdant rainforest teeming with life. Rivers meandered through the landscape, nourishing lush vegetation. But then came the ice, a cataclysmic event that began roughly 34 million years ago during the transition from the Eocene to the Oligocene epochs. A significant cooling of the planet heralded the dawn of a major ice age. The land remained, but it was gradually entombed beneath an ever-thickening shroud of ice and snow. To the casual observer, Antarctica transformed into a seemingly featureless white desert, a vast, flat expanse. Over countless millennia, the immense ice sheet shifted and flowed, sculpting the land beneath. The original South Pole was erased, save for one exceptional area. In regions where the ice is exceptionally thick and relatively immobile, such as in East Antarctica, the ice sheet acted as an extraordinary protective blanket. Normally, wind and rain erode the land over vast stretches of time, constantly reshaping the surface. Yet this protective ice shield prevented these natural forces from reaching the ground below. As a result, the landscape remained almost unchanged for millions of years, effectively frozen in time. This unique zone, nestled near the Aurora and Schmidt subglacial basins, has become a window into Antarctica's past, a ghostly echo of a landscape untouched since it was first entombed in ice 34 million years ago. It represents a historical footprint, a place that holds clues to Antarctica's appearance before its descent into a frigid nightmare. As scientists peered beneath the ice of East Antarctica, they discovered an astonishing spectacle. The preserved traces of ancient riverbeds that once flowed freely, a network of valleys, peculiar little islands, and 3 massive landforms shaped like the letter U. What could have caused this unusual formation? Consider the continents of our planet, perpetually in motion, drifting across the molten mantle like cereal in a bowl of milk. Throughout Earth's history, they have collided and separated repeatedly. Hundreds of millions of years ago, several continents were united as part of the supercontinent Gondwana. Antarctica was a key component of this vast landmass. As Gondwana fragmented, Antarctica endured immense tectonic stress. Enormous forces stretched and tore the continent apart, creating deep rifts. This is how these enormous U-shaped blocks of land were formed, now concealed beneath kilometers of ice. Now, scientists are eager to further explore this ghost of a world. However, to truly understand its secrets, they must drill through the ice, like using a straw to reach the bottom of a drink. Imagine dipping a straw deep into an extra-thick milkshake. That's akin to what scientists do when drilling into Antarctica, pulling up rocks and dirt from the Earth's hidden depths. These samples offer invaluable insights into our planet's history and past climates. Antarctica, the world's 5th largest continent, dwarfs the entirety of Europe or Australia. It rivals South America in sheer size. Beyond the massive East Antarctica, the continent features diverse regions. The Antarctic Peninsula, the South Pole, West Antarctica, and the Ross Sea. This continent is essentially a colossal frozen sandbox. Its hidden and mysterious landscapes remain less explored than the surface of Mars. What we do know is this: without its icy cloak, Antarctica wouldn't be a flat, featureless expanse. Instead, a dramatic world of towering mountains, immense canyons, and even active volcanoes would be revealed. Some of these volcanoes are so colossal that their peaks pierce through the thick layers of snow. In West Antarctica alone, at least 138 volcanoes lie dormant, with approximately 8 or 9 still active today. One of the most remarkable is Mount Erebus, the southernmost active volcano and the continent's tallest, reaching a staggering 12,500 feet in height. Deep beneath the ice sheet, This volcanic giant harbors breathtaking subglacial caves where temperatures are surprisingly mild, almost warm enough to wear a t-shirt. The Antarctic Peninsula, also known as Lesser Antarctica, resembles a chain of mountainous islands. Its depths contain relatively young volcanic rocks, remnants of the Pacific Ring of Fire. This vast circular zone encircles the Pacific Ocean, notorious for its volcanoes and earthquake activity. Greater Antarctica, an immense landmass nearly the size of Australia, comprises East Antarctica and the South Pole. Beneath the ice, it's a realm of ancient rocks, including the special zone we previously mentioned. It's common knowledge that Antarctica is almost entirely devoid of human presence, hardly surprising given its average temperature of 46 degrees Fahrenheit. Yet, even in this brutally cold and desolate environment, life tenaciously clings on, specifically in the hidden underworld. In 2017, scientists detected DNA traces of algae, moss, and even potentially unknown small animals within the deep caves. This discovery suggests that even in such extreme conditions, unique ecosystems thrive in isolated warm pockets beneath the snow. Another astounding discovery occurred beneath Antarctica's Ross Ice Shelf, a vibrant ecosystem pulsating within an underground river. Scientists had long theorized the existence of freshwater lakes and rivers beneath Antarctica. One day, a satellite identified a groove, prompting an exploratory mission. Using a hot water drill, they melted their way through the thick ice, finally reaching the hidden underworld. They lowered a camera into one of these subterranean freshwater rivers, expecting to find rocks or sediment. Instead, they were greeted by hundreds of amphipods, tiny shrimp-like creatures. These minuscule beings swarmed the camera lens, momentarily obscuring the view. While comically frustrating for the researchers, it confirmed the existence of a thriving ecosystem deep within Antarctica. This marks just the beginning of unraveling the mysteries of Antarctica's hidden world. The frozen continent also conceals the deepest canyon on Earth beneath the Denman Glacier. While the Mariana Trench remains the deepest point on the planet, it's a feature of the oceanic crust from a geological perspective. Furthermore, in 1958, explorers unearthed a colossal mountain range beneath the ice, rivaling the famous Alps in size and height. This range stretches for approximately 745 miles, with peaks soaring as high as 17,000 feet. All this magnificence lies buried beneath tons of ice. Who knows what other wonders await discovery? Antarctica holds roughly 60% of the planet's freshwater reserves. The implications of its melting are dire, and there's a looming danger. Imagine a colossal ice formation, the Thwaites Glacier, a frozen giant about the size of Florida itself. This is not some relic of the past. It's a living, changing entity, and right now, it's melting. Every year, as this behemoth surrenders more of its icy mass to the ocean, sea levels around the globe creep upwards by approximately 4%. Now picture a scenario where Thwaites Glacier completely disappears. The consequences? A staggering 2-foot rise in sea levels worldwide. While this might seem insignificant, for coastal communities, it would be nothing short of catastrophic. But there's a glimmer of hope. Recent research suggests that even if the ice shelf supporting the glacier were to collapse within the next half-century, the glacier itself would retreat at a slower pace than initially feared. It's still losing ice, make no mistake, but the process, thankfully, would be gradual. Now, our attention shifts to another piece of this Antarctic puzzle. A sleek, state-of-the-art submarine named RAN. This marvel of engineering was dispatched to explore the hidden depths beneath Antarctica, but after making a mysterious discovery, it vanished without a trace. What could have possibly happened? The story begins with a team of scientists driven by an insatiable curiosity to explore one of the most remote and enigmatic locations on our planet, the Dotson Ice Shelf in West Antarctica. Picture this silent giant, a colossal expanse of ice stretching 30 miles wide, nearly the length of New York City. It stands guard between two icy promontories, the Martin and Bear Peninsulas, concealing a hidden world filled with geological mysteries. If you believe Antarctica is simply a desolate, featureless expanse of snow and ice, prepare to be amazed. Beneath the surface, entire landscapes lie hidden. The underside of the Dotson ice shelf is a rugged, dynamic terrain sculpted by the slow, relentless forces of nature. Imagine towering ice formations, deep troughs, and bizarre structures stretching for hundreds of feet. Exploring this alien world is, as you might expect, no easy task. To gain insights, scientists have relied on satellite scans and painstakingly drilling through the thick ice, piecing together a fragmented picture. But these methods only offered tantalizing hints. The real breakthrough came with the idea of deploying autonomous submersibles, robotic explorers capable of venturing deep into the icy waters beneath the Dotson ice shelf. These remarkable machines are equipped with advanced sonar systems, technology that mimics what bats and dolphins use. In essence, they see with sound. They emit sound waves underwater, and when these waves encounter an object, be it the ice shelf above or the seafloor below, they bounce back. By analyzing the time it takes for the sound waves to return and how they change, the system can determine the location, size, and shape of objects. Think of a dolphin emitting clicks to locate a school of fish. We've essentially copied this evolutionary marvel and adapted it for underwater exploration, but with a higher level of precision. This allows us to create detailed maps of the hidden environment. The Ran submarine, named after the Norse goddess of the sea, was one such robotic explorer. Meticulously programmed to navigate the treacherous Antarctic landscape, its journey took an unexpected and unsettling turn. In 2019, Ran embarked on its mission to explore the depths beneath the Dotson ice shelf, a pioneering endeavor that was likened to exploring the far side of the moon. For 27 continuous days, it worked tirelessly, traversing over 620 miles beneath the thick ice, a distance comparable to a journey from Paris to Berlin. Ran ventured further and deeper than anyone could have imagined, penetrating over 10 miles into the glacier's interior. The discoveries it made were astonishing. Scientists had anticipated relatively smooth, uniform ice surfaces, but Ran revealed an underside scarred by massive cracks and ridges. There were formations that resembled sand dunes frozen in time. And finally, the submarine encountered mysterious swirling, teardrop-shaped patterns, the origins of which remain shrouded in mystery. Imagine a canvas, not of paint, but of ice. A story etched not by human hands, but by the relentless forces of nature. What appears as mere geology is, in fact, an epic tale of ice shelves and the ever-encroaching ocean. Picture this: warm water, a silent invader, stealthily creeping beneath the ice, melting it from below. Sometimes it leaves a smooth, featureless surface, but at other times it sculpts bizarre, uneven forms, patterns that resemble intricate drawings. Some of these shapes are truly colossal, stretching over 1,300 feet. That's about 3.5 football fields laid end to end. But what gives these icy artworks their unique, swirling character? The answer lies in the Earth's rotation, a force that bends the water's movement in peculiar ways, drawing these mesmerizing spirals. It's a phenomenon known as the Coriolis effect. Think of it like being on a merry-go-round, trying to throw a ball. It veers off course, tracing a curve instead of a straight line. The same principle applies to the water currents beneath the ice. Later, scientists would discover similar patterns beneath other Antarctic ice shelves, though none quite matched the grandeur of those found under the Dotson ice shelf. But the discoveries didn't end there. A chilling revelation. These warm waters, while artistic in their effects, pose a grave danger. The Dotson ice shelf isn't merely a scenic wonder. It's a vital component of a delicate ecosystem, acting as a crucial protective barrier, holding back the colossal glaciers of West Antarctica. This ice shelf floats upon the ocean, yet remains anchored to the land. As the insidious warm water infiltrates its underbelly, melting the ice, the Dotson's grip on the land weakens. This protective barrier begins to fail, allowing the glaciers behind it to surge forward, sliding more rapidly into the ocean. And when these glaciers meet the sea, they contribute to the rising sea levels, reshaping coastlines across the globe. Our scientists stumbled upon vast pockets where the ice was melting at an alarming rate, a consequence of powerful underwater currents. It was akin to witnessing a ticking time bomb beneath the glacier. The stakes were immense, but fortunately the submersible Ran was ready. It returned to the depths, tirelessly gathering invaluable data for 5 years. These missions were fraught with peril. There were stretches where Rand would plunge into the absolute blackness of the cavity beneath the glaciers, enduring 24 hours without communication. Yet, it meticulously mapped every peak, every valley, accumulating experience from over 40 perilous missions beneath the ice. Then, in early 2024, Rand embarked on a mission to the Thwaites Glacier. This was a bold undertaking from the outset, venturing into a region ominously dubbed the Doomsday Glacier. This grim moniker stems from its slow but inexorable melting, a process that holds the potential to trigger a global catastrophe by raising sea levels dramatically should it collapse entirely. Thus, Rand was dispatched to explore this glacier's underbelly, a realm never before mapped with such precision. The goal was to unlock the glacier's secrets, to understand the speed and causes of its melting. This marked Rand's second expedition to Thwaites. During the first, it became the first submersible to ever fully map the glacier's underside. Rand probed depths ranging from 650 feet to a staggering 1,350 feet, transmitting a wealth of data revealing how the Doomsday Glacier was succumbing to warm ocean currents. But during one of these daring ventures into the icy abyss, disaster struck. Without warning, Rand vanished, leaving no trace. One moment, it was diligently sending back vital data. The next, it had slipped into the inky void. No distress signals, no final transmission. It simply failed to return to its designated rendezvous point. A massive search was launched. Helicopters scoured the skies, drones buzzed through the frozen expanse, but no sign of the submersible emerged from the glacier's grasp. With the passage of time, Rand's batteries would have inevitably died, marking its definitive entombment beneath 1,500 feet of ice. This was a devastating loss for the scientific team. Now, the scientists at the University of Gothenburg are determined to replace Rand and continue its vital work. Imagine, deep in the icy expanse of Antarctica, dedicated researchers continue their vital work near the Thwaites Glacier. Yet, a chilling mystery remains unsolved. What truly became of the robotic submarine, Rand? To this day, scientists are baffled. Did it become hopelessly trapped beneath the crushing ice? Was it swept away by an unforeseen, powerful current lurking in the depths? Or perhaps it collided with some unknown obstacle hidden beneath the frozen surface? The truth, for now, remains elusive. The disappearance of Rand has left the entire scientific team in stunned silence. The secrets of the ice shelf seem destined to remain locked away, at least for the time being. Despite this setback, Rand's journey yielded a treasure trove of knowledge. And the quest continues. Scientists tirelessly explore the Antarctic, driven to unearth the hidden history buried beneath the endless snow. For instance, imagine a world transformed. Around 90 million years ago, a lush, temperate rainforest flourished near the South Pole. This discovery unveiled an ancient world far warmer than anyone had dared to imagine. Deep within the Antarctic soil, scientists unearthed fossilized roots, pollen, and spores, perfectly preserved. These incredible finds paint a picture of a swampy rainforest teeming with life, thriving despite months of perpetual polar darkness. These groundbreaking discoveries have fundamentally reshaped our understanding of Earth's climate, both past and future. Now consider this seemingly ordinary rock. At first glance, it appears utterly unremarkable, the kind you might casually pick up during a stroll along the beach. Its color is muted, its weight, around 4 pounds, is average. But everything changes when you learn its incredible origin. This rock was born on Mars. It journeyed across the vast gulf of space to Earth and ultimately came to rest in Antarctica. Suddenly, its story becomes utterly captivating. Let's delve into the details. Researcher Roberta Score, a member of the ANSMET project, Antarctic Search for Meteorites, part of the U.S. Antarctic program, made this extraordinary find in 1984. The meteorite's name, ALH A4001, holds the key to its discovery. ALH signifies the Allen Hills of Antarctica, the location where Roberta spotted it. The 84 represents the year of discovery, and 01 denotes the sample number. If you're picturing Roberta excitedly shouting, "I found a chunk of Mars!" Upon picking up the rock, the reality is far more subdued. Initially, the meteorite's origin was a complete mystery. What perplexed researchers even more was that this meteorite differed significantly from all other meteorite groups previously found on Earth. So, how did they ultimately determine it was a visitor from Mars? The answer lies in minute traces of gas trapped within the rock, gases that perfectly match the composition of the Martian atmosphere. This atmospheric fingerprint was known thanks to the intrepid Viking landers, which conducted crucial in situ analysis on Mars back in 1976. Our Martian rock is truly exceptional, and not merely because of its extraterrestrial origin. Among the thousands of meteorites discovered on Earth, only 100 or so are believed to have originated from Mars. Even among those, our specimen stands apart, seemingly belonging to a unique and distinct group. Let's journey back in time, nearly 4 billion years, and trace the incredible life story of this cosmic traveler. It likely formed on the Red Planet during its early history. Then, one fateful day, seemingly no different from any other, everything changed for this unassuming rock. A colossal asteroid impact violently ejected it into space, and its solo journey began. At that time, it was far larger than the fragment discovered on Earth. Eventually, ALH Trade 401 drifted close to Earth, and perhaps driven by an unknown impulse, it embarked on a final daring exploration. Around 13,000 years ago, it ended its epic space voyage with a dramatic collision with our planet. This Martian fragment is the oldest we've ever found. Yet, initially, it garnered little attention. It wasn't until 1996 that it shot to fame, thanks to a groundbreaking discovery. NASA researchers began to ponder, could this ancient fragment harbor traces of past life that might have thrived on Mars when ALH 8411 was formed? What secrets might this rock reveal about the red planet's ancient past? And, astonishingly, those scientists were on the verge of a monumental revelation. Imagine this. Far away, on the desolate plains of Mars, could there have once been life? In a groundbreaking moment, scientists detected traces of incredibly fine magnetite particles. These microscopic remnants bore an uncanny resemblance in both structure and chemical makeup to particles we find right here on Earth. These particles, known as magnetofossils, are produced by magnetotactic bacteria. Could this mean that, in the distant past, some form of life existed on the red planet? Then, in April 2020, scientists from the Japanese Space Agency unveiled another stunning discovery. They detected nitrogen-containing organic material of Martian origin within a meteorite. What astounding secrets might further examination of these meteorites reveal? Only time will tell. For now, perhaps the best we can do is journey to the icy continent of Antarctica in search of more of these cosmic messengers. Antarctica, surprisingly, is a meteorite hunter's paradise. Nearly 50,000 meteorites have been recovered from its frozen landscapes, and potentially hundreds of thousands more await discovery. Each of these space rocks holds a piece of the puzzle, a story of the evolution of our solar system. Consider the very first lunar rock discovered on this deserted continent. It provided definitive proof that fragments of space objects larger than asteroids can, in fact, find their way to Earth. So, let's imagine you're inspired. You decide to embark on a meteorite hunting expedition to Antarctica. Prepare yourself for some serious challenges. Despite their relative abundance, finding these space rocks is not as simple as it might seem. You'll need to venture into remote, unforgiving areas, and even then, there's no guarantee of success. And here's the real problem. Meteorites are vanishing from sight. Currently, scientists recover approximately 1,000 meteorites from Antarctica each year, but a recent study suggests that a staggering 5,000 more are lost from view annually, buried beneath the ice. The culprit? Rising temperatures. Alarmed by this discovery, scientists developed a complex model to predict where these meteorites might resurface. This model took into account a multitude of factors: snow cover, surface temperature, the speed of ice flow, and even the steepness of the terrain. After running simulations under various warming scenarios, The results were clear. Meteorites were indeed sinking out of sight as temperatures climbed. The researchers were understandably dismayed. They hadn't anticipated that climate change would so drastically impact their work. Even in these sub-freezing environments, human activity is threatening a crucial archive of our solar system's history. But let's return to your meteorite hunt. To maximize your chances of success, head towards the base of mountains or rocky outcrops. Here, the ice, which typically flows towards lower ground, is forced upwards. And be sure to pack a windbreaker. In these areas, powerful winds sweep away the snow, exposing brilliant blue ice. Instead of melting, this ancient ice undergoes sublimation, transforming directly into water vapor. This process helps to reveal meteorites that would otherwise remain hidden. But time is of the essence. Even in well below freezing temperatures, meteorites on the surface disappear rapidly. The rocks absorb solar heat and melt the surrounding ice, creating their own underground, or rather, under-ice tunnels. They sink, hiding themselves from view. Eventually, refreezing seals the entrance to these tunnels, trapping the meteorites within. Scientists now acknowledge the difficulty of developing effective methods for spotting these hidden meteorites. And if we don't act quickly, we risk losing an estimated 80,000 to 250,000 space rocks in total. It's no wonder scientists are on a mission to find more meteorites, focusing their efforts on meteorite stranding zones. These zones are specific locations where meteorites tend to accumulate on the surface due to unique combinations of geology, ice flow patterns, and climate conditions. As you now understand, meteorites are often found on snow-free expanses of blue ice. This makes them significantly easier to spot, and these hotspots a vital resource for researchers. Sometimes the discovery of such a find boils down to sheer luck. Or perhaps relentless dedication, individuals spending countless hours poring over maps and satellite images, desperately seeking those telltale patches of blue ice. But what if technology could lend a hand? Imagine stepping into a research station alongside Veronica Tolina, a brilliant glaciologist, and her dedicated team. They've pioneered a groundbreaking approach, a smart, Arctic-wide map designed to pinpoint meteorite hotspots. This isn't guesswork. It's the culmination of machine learning algorithms and vast data sets from NASA, the Canadian Space Agency, and other global entities. This map highlights the prime locations where meteorites are most likely to be found, based on a combination of previous discoveries and comprehensive climate and ice data. The edges of continents and the vicinity of mountains with visible blue ice appear to be particularly promising. However, the presence of blue ice alone isn't a guarantee. Factors like temperature and the speed of ice flow play critical roles. If the ice moves too rapidly, any meteorites present could be swept away before they have a chance to accumulate. To successfully locate a meteorite, precise conditions must align. The surface temperature needs to remain consistently below 9 degrees Celsius, 16 degrees Celsius. Otherwise, the meteorites risk sinking into the ice. One promising starting point is the Allen Hills region. It's a veritable meteorite goldmine where our ALH friend, alluding to the famous Allen Hills 84001 meteorite, was discovered. This area has yielded over 1,000 finds. Yet, even more unexplored areas, such as the Fimbulheimen Mountains, hold even greater potential. You could be the first to uncover their secrets. This innovative map incorporates a where-to-go index, ranking the most promising meteorite hunting locations. This will make future expeditions far more targeted and efficient. With vast stretches of blue ice regions still unexplored, countless meteorites are waiting to be discovered. So, what are we waiting for? But let's shift our focus for a moment. Picture lush, coniferous forests and sprawling tundra, a true wonderland. You might be forgiven for thinking you're in Canada, but you'd be mistaken. This is Antarctica, approximately 34 million years ago. What transformed Antarctica into the frigid expanse we know today? It was a combination of dwindling carbon dioxide levels and significant tectonic shifts that dramatically altered this once ice-free paradise into the frozen continent. Around 50 million years ago, CO2 concentrations were astronomically high, hovering around 1,000 to 2,000 parts per million. As these levels plummeted, global temperatures began to decline, setting the stage for the massive ice sheets that would eventually dominate Antarctica. While the CO2 levels were dropping, tectonic activity was also reshaping the region. The separation of South America and Antarctica led to the formation of the Drake Passage, giving rise to the Antarctic Circumpolar Current. This powerful current acted as a barrier, preventing warm air and ocean currents from reaching Antarctica and contributing to its frigid conditions. If you sometimes confuse Australia and Antarctica, you're not entirely off base. These two continents were once joined together, but if you mix up Austria and Australia, it's a far bigger error. And speaking of Australia, feast your eyes on this stunning pink beach. Its beauty is more than just skin deep. The unusual pink sands are composed of garnet, a mineral widely used in jewelry. Geologists who studied these sands discovered that the garnet they contain is older than the local mountains, a seemingly impossible contradiction. However, there's a logical explanation. Millions of years ago, Australia wasn't the isolated continent it is today. It was connected to Antarctica as part of the supercontinent Gondwana. Glacial erosion released the garnet, which eventually found its way to the beach. These sands formed when South Australia was a flat, tranquil landscape long before the emergence of the mountains. While most garnet is washed away by the sea, this particular batch boasts a rich history, tracing its origins back to glacial rocks. Deep beneath the Antarctic ice, a hidden world awaits. Imagine, if you will, the Trans-Antarctic Mountains, a colossal ancient range buried under miles of frozen water. Here, the pink sand whispers tales of epochs long past, but the ice holds more than just geological secrets. It conceals treasures, like garnet gemstones scattered across the frozen landscape. And if you look even closer, you might find something truly astonishing: entire buildings entombed in ice. It sounds like a fantasy, but a British explorer named Chris Brown actually stumbled upon such a discovery. Brown's journey to the pole of inaccessibility began with a stroke of bad luck. His plane, grounded by a mechanical failure, left him stranded in the vast white expanse. It was then that he and his son spotted something peculiar: a lone bust, a human head, peeking out from the snowdrift. This marked the location of an abandoned meteorological station, a relic of a bygone era. Despite the brutal, freezing conditions, Chris and his son Micah were thrilled to explore this icy time capsule. Chris Brown is on a quest to conquer all 7 of Earth's poles of inaccessibility, remote locations that pose extreme challenges to reach. He has already successfully tackled 5, and as you likely know, Antarctica is the largest desert on our planet, dwarfing even the Sahara and the Gobi. But this seemingly barren continent holds a bizarre secret: a blood-red waterfall cascading down a glacier in the McMurdo Dry Valleys. This 5-story spectacle, known as Blood Falls, appears to gush blood onto the frozen landscape. The explanation, while scientific, does little to diminish the eerie sight. The Crimson Cascade originates from an ancient, salty lake trapped beneath a glacier for millennia. Over time, this isolated body of water became incredibly concentrated, its salt levels 3 times higher than the ocean. Locked away from sunlight and oxygen, this water is also rich in iron. When it seeps through a crack in the glacier and meets the open air, the iron oxidizes, creating the blood-red hue that gives Blood Falls its macabre name. You may have heard that Antarctica is devoid of insect life. That's not entirely accurate. The Antarctic midge, a tiny resilient insect, calls this frozen wasteland home. And there are spiders, too, but these aren't the common house spiders you might find lurking in your home. These are marine arthropods, colossal creatures that can stretch to a staggering 20 inches in length. They haunt the frigid depths of the Antarctic ocean floor, breathing through tiny holes in their legs. When you picture Antarctica, the color that likely comes to mind is white. However, this continent can sometimes resemble a slice of watermelon. This vibrant display is caused by a hardy algae called Chlamydomonas nivalis. As temperatures rise during the Antarctic summer, these algae release red and green spores, painting the snow in surreal psychedelic colors. But be warned, This colorful snow is toxic and definitely not edible. Discovering fossils is an exciting endeavor, but unearthing them in one of the most remote places on Earth elevates the experience to a whole new level. A team of scientists recently struck paleontological gold, excavating over a ton of fossils representing ancient marine life, dinosaurs, and birds from the late Cretaceous period, roughly 71 million years ago. Their adventure began with a flight to South America, followed by a grueling 5-day voyage across the treacherous Drake Passage. Upon reaching Antarctica, they established a base camp and used helicopters and inflatable boats to access the fossil sites. Why excavate in Antarctica, with its seemingly endless ice cover? The answer lies in specific locations where exposed rock formations emerge, depending on the season. The team focused on James Ross Island, located in the Antarctic Peninsula, during the months of February and March. During this brief summer window, certain rock formations, dating back to the age of dinosaurs, become exposed. The expedition proved to be an overwhelming success, yielding over a ton of remarkable fossil discoveries. These precious finds will now be transported to Chile for further study. Before their groundbreaking discoveries led them to the esteemed Carnegie Museum of Natural History in Pittsburgh, paleontologists unearthed remarkable relics. Imagine, if you will, a site teeming with fossils dating back an astounding 71 million years, mingled with others approximately 67 million years old. Among these ancient treasures were countless snails, clams, and a plethora of fascinating marine creatures. But wait, what's this lurking in the depths? A truly nightmarish sea worm. This spine-chilling creature could easily headline a horror film, yet it chooses the frigid waters of the Southern Ocean, near Antarctica, as its home. These formidable worms can reach up to 8 inches in length and 4 inches in width. But don't be deceived by their ghastly appearance. Research suggests they might be unsung heroes, playing a crucial role in maintaining the delicate balance of their ecosystems. And that so-called head? It's actually a retractable throat, complete with toothy apparatus, perfect for devouring its meals. Antarctica, it seems, is a haven for bizarre and unsettling life forms. Allow me to introduce you to the Antarctic strawberry feather star. Forget Patrick Star from SpongeBob. This creature is more akin to something dredged up from the deepest, darkest trenches of the ocean. A true horror movie star. Picture this: 20 wriggling arms, some extending up to 8 inches, adorned with strange, unsettling bumps. A truly horrifying sight. Now let's journey back to 2014. Scientists embarked on an ambitious project, burying 34 seismic monitors in the snow of the Ross Ice Shelf. Envision this expanse as a colossal ice laboratory, dwarfing even Texas in size, serenely floating atop the Southern Ocean. These ingenious devices detected a persistent, almost ceaseless buzzing. Though inaudible to the human ear, scientists skillfully amplified these low-frequency sounds, making them available for all to hear. They even dared to share this eerie audio online. One glaciologist from the University of Chicago likened the vibration to a swarm of cicadas taking over the backyard in late summer. But these intrepid glacier explorers weren't merely hunting for spooky soundscapes. Their mission was to monitor the Ross Ice Shelf as temperatures rise and the ice melts at an alarming rate, faster than ice cream on a sweltering day. These ice shelves serve as vital safety plugs, preventing massive ice sheets from surging into the ocean. So, what's the source of this mysterious buzzing? The likely culprit is strong winds whipping across the icy expanse, creating a natural resonant vibration. Now shift your attention to a different kind of isolation. Mention your travel plans to Tristan da Cunha, and you're likely to be met with blank stares. It's no wonder, as Tristan da Cunha is considered the most remote inhabited archipelago on Earth. The nearest populated land, St. Helena, lies approximately 2,500 miles away. Only 229 souls call Tristan da Cunha home. In such a close-knit community, everyone is connected, cousins, uncles, or simply friends. But one thing is certain: everyone knows everyone. The island boasts a mere 10 surnames, representing just 10 founding families. Reaching this remote paradise is an adventure in itself. The absence of an airport means your journey will be primarily by sea. Typically, it requires a 7-day voyage from South Africa. Only 3 ships regularly service the island, making fewer than a dozen trips each year. Some cruise lines may include it in their itineraries, but travel arrangements must be made well in advance due to limited berth availability on the ship from Cape Town. Landing permission is also required. While Tristan da Cunha lacks traditional hotels, several welcoming guest houses are available. You might even have the opportunity to stay with a local family who will provide accommodation, 3 meals a day, and laundry services. A staggering 88% of your payment goes directly to the host family, with only 12% allocated for taxes. And the best part? The accommodation is surprisingly affordable. Imagine journeying to Tristan da Cunha, where in 2024, a full board could set you back around £65. Yes, they operate using sterling, a nod to their status as part of overseas British territory. But there's also a local currency you'll find there, the St. Helena pound, pegged at parity with sterling. Interestingly, it's only been about 80 years since the islanders transitioned to using actual money. Back in 1942, the naval station started paying wages in cash, which helped the Tristan Islanders shift from a barter economy to one based on cash. This gave them the novelty of making their first ever cash purchases. A word to the wise: pack everything you might need before you embark on this adventure. Don't expect to stumble across a Walmart there. Sure, there's a supermarket, but it's not the sprawling, endless-aisled experience you might be accustomed to, with shelves stacked high with oversized jars of mayonnaise. Tristan's Island Store, often simply referred to as the supermarket, lacks the gleaming plate glass windows and flashy advertisements. Let's be honest, from the outside, it resembles an abandoned barn. Yet it plays a pivotal role in supplying essential goods to supplement the locally produced foods and wool. If a resident wants to purchase something, they must place orders months in advance for items arriving on incoming ships. The store operates from Monday through Friday. Today, the islanders still cultivate their own crops and raise livestock. The supermarket serves as a vital source for other essentials, like flour, sugar, and a variety of groceries, including frozen bread and products typical of UK or South African supermarkets. And even though the island's economy leans heavily on fishing, particularly rock lobsters, the islanders are largely self-sufficient. Now, let's venture to another destination that's exceptionally challenging to reach, a place that takes the difficulty to a whole new level. I'm talking about the infamous Hypoxia City, a nickname for a place with the lowest oxygen levels on the planet. Its real name is La Rinconada. This city is perched high in the Peruvian Andes. Getting there requires a climb of over 16,000 feet into the mountains. What else would you expect from the highest city on Earth? Despite its remote and difficult-to-access location, it houses a far greater population than Tristan da Cunha, with between 30,000 and 50,000 residents. While the island in the middle of nowhere exudes an idyllic charm, the Peruvian city of La Rinconada presents a starkly different picture. The urban layout is dominated by low-rise residences, and essential services are severely limited. La Rinconada lacks a reliable supply of running water and a proper sewage system. The community also lacks a waste collection service, forcing residents to burn or bury their garbage. Moreover, until the early 2000s, La Rinconada had no access to electricity. Most goods, including essential foods, must be transported in from outside. Despite its humble beginnings as a minor city, it now offers a wider range of activities to sustain its inhabitants. Some residents engage in trading food and clothing, while others provide services, and some have even opened public restrooms. Architecturally, La Rinconada has very little to offer. The pattern is quite predictable. Huts constructed from corrugated metal, which are unstable and prone to rusting. The choice of materials is dictated by practicality. These metal sheets are the lightest and easiest for miners to transport to the glacier. Unfortunately, the homes lack proper insulation, leaving residents shivering in the cold, even though they have access to wool from local sheep, an excellent insulator. Sturdier rock homes do exist but are rare, typically inhabited by wealthier miners. While the architecture may not be captivating, the vistas certainly are. A mere glance skyward reveals La Rinconada, or Sleeping Beauty as some call it, a colossal glacier towering majestically over the town. But reaching La Rinconada is no simple feat. First, you'll need to board a flight to Alejandro Velasco Astete International Airport in Cusco, Peru. Once you've landed in Cusco, your journey continues via train or bus to Puno, a city nestled beside the iconic Lake Titicaca. And here's where the adventure truly begins. The most authentic way to ascend to La Rinconada is by hitchhiking or securing a ride into the rugged mountains. While buses might exist, their schedules are as unpredictable as the mountain weather. If you're feeling bold, renting a car is an option. But be forewarned, the roads are notoriously treacherous and demand unwavering caution. This isn't a Sunday drive, it's an expedition. Unlike Tristan da Cunha, which embraced cash in the 1940s, La Rinconada's economy pulses with a different kind of currency: gold. The town thrives on its gold mines, a landscape of unguarded, unregulated, and often perilous excavation sites. Miners toil relentlessly for 30 days under a cachorio system. On the 31st day, they are granted a single, back-breaking opportunity to extract as much ore as they can physically carry as their sole compensation. La Rinconada may lack a formal bank, but it's teeming with storefront fund transfer agencies, lifelines for miners wiring their hard-earned money to their families. Yet, the amount they'll be able to send remains a constant uncertainty, a gamble as unpredictable as the veins of gold they chase. Our next destination beckons, Longyearbyen, a place whose harsh climate might initially seem unwelcoming. Yet, its locals embrace visitors with open arms. No visa is required to explore or even work in this unique settlement perched near the top of the world. Longyearbyen, with its capital of Longyearbyen, boasts a remarkably diverse community. Over 50 nationalities are represented among its 2,400 residents. Don't be surprised if you spot a polar bear casually wandering into town, a stark reminder of the untamed wilderness that surrounds them. Living space is at a premium. There's a single grocery store, and the streets are identified by numbers rather than names, adding to the town's distinctive character. Longyearbyen is also home to a university center, attracting around 300 students from across the globe. Intriguingly, every student is required to learn how to use firearms for self-defense against the potential dangers lurking in the surrounding wilderness. Originally founded as a mining town, much like La Rinconada, Longyearbyen has largely transitioned to tourism. However, a quirky tradition from its mining past persists. Visitors and residents alike remove their shoes upon entering hotels and restaurants, a practice born from the practical need to keep coal dust at bay. Our final destination for today's journey is Palmerston Island, a remote coral atoll in the Cook Islands, situated approximately 290 miles northwest of Rarotonga. The famed explorer Captain James Cook first set foot here on June 16, 1774. Although ancient graves hinted at earlier habitation, the island was deserted at the time. Today, the island supports a small, close-knit community of approximately 25 residents, primarily descendants of William Marsters, a 19th-century English sailor. Marsters arrived in 1863 with 2 Polynesian wives, and later added a third, fathering a remarkable 23 children. Fishing forms the backbone of the local economy, reflecting a subsistence lifestyle dictated by the island's extreme isolation. While modern amenities and communication services are available, there is no airport. Cargo ships provide a vital link to the outside world, visiting periodically to deliver essential supplies. What springs to mind when you hear the word Antarctica? Most likely images of biting cold, endless snow, impenetrable ice, and waddling penguins fill your thoughts. Yet, this remote continent remains one of the least explored regions on Earth, concealing a wealth of strange and unique phenomena. You don't need to embark on a perilous expedition to Antarctica to witness one of these oddities. Simply open Google Earth and navigate to one of the southernmost islands of Antarctica, King George Island. Recently, online explorers have noticed a large and remarkably strange cave entrance etched into the landscape. Where does this gaping dark passage lead? Speculation and theories abound. Imagine stumbling upon something extraordinary, a gateway to the unknown, Perhaps the entrance to a hidden base or a forgotten laboratory concealed beneath the Antarctic ice. Could this be a fragment of a spaceship crashed millennia ago, or the doorway to an ancient lost city buried deep within the frozen continent? Picture this: a colossal rock mountain, its base shrouded in snow and ice, concealing a vast age-old cave. Speculation runs wild, with some users calculating its dimensions, a staggering 74 feet in height and 250 feet in width. A Boeing passenger jet could easily be hidden within its icy embrace. While a natural formation seems the most plausible explanation, two peculiar details cast a shadow of doubt. First, observe the base of the mountain. Are those steps? Dark, as if carved from stone, they ascend into the frozen depths. And what's more, faint impressions resembling human footprints mark their surface. Has someone ventured into this icy abyss? Or could someone, even now, be dwelling within? The second enigma is the on-again, off-again disappearance of this mysterious entrance. First spotted on Google Maps in 2007, it vanished, only to reappear years later. Then, it vanished once more, only to resurface again in 2022. Perhaps it's a cyclical dance of melting snow and shifting ice, sculpted by the relentless Antarctic winds. But those alleged steps leading into the cave's heart fuel suspicions of a more deliberate origin. You can find the coordinates on the internet and explore the cave via Google Earth. And there's another chilling discovery made with the help of Google Earth. In 2020, a user unearthed a bizarre object lurking just 100 meters off the Antarctic coast, a colossal vessel lying on its side, entombed in ice and snow. Resembling a giant cruise ship, the outline of windows, decks, and a bridge are eerily visible, but opinions diverge wildly. Some believe it to be a ship, others a spaceship, and still others whisper of a clandestine secret structure. The user who first spotted the anomaly estimated its length at approximately 400 feet, the perfect size for a passenger liner. But what is a passenger vessel doing in this forsaken, icy wasteland? How did it arrive here? Who was its captain? The answers remain elusive, lost in the Antarctic silence. In 2016, Google Earth users stumbled upon a chilling image, an unidentified sea monster drifting off the Antarctic coast. This creature, resembling a colossal squid, stretches an estimated 200 feet in length. Imagine a kraken, Architeuthis ducks, of such immense proportions lurking beneath the dark, icy waters, dragging anything it encounters to the ocean floor. Could this be a descendant of the mythical Cthulhu, the ancient cosmic entity of Lovecraftian horror? Then there's the blood falls. Amidst Antarctica's dazzling white expanse, a river of crimson stains the ice. Fear not, it's not blood. For centuries, this waterfall has painted the snow a vivid red hue. The stream emerges directly from a seemingly pristine iceberg. To understand this phenomenon, we need to journey back millions of years. Imagine a small, crystal-clear pond slowly being enveloped by a growing glacier. Millennia pass, and a thick layer of ice and snow seals off the pond, blocking sunlight, heat, and oxygen. The reservoir remains trapped in this frigid vacuum. Eventually, the water finds a weak point in the icy wall and bursts forth. As this highly saline water comes into contact with the oxygen-rich air, it instantly oxidizes, turning a striking scarlet or rusty color. Antarctica remains the only place on Earth where this unique natural spectacle occurs. But Antarctica holds more secrets than just bloody waterfalls. One of the driest places on the planet lies hidden within its icy embrace. The McMurdo Dry Valleys, one of the most desolate deserts on Earth. Yet, unlike traditional deserts, you won't find scorching sun, hot sand, or cacti. A desert, in its essence, is defined by a lack of moisture, and the McMurdo Dry Valleys fit this description perfectly. Imagine a place on Earth where precipitation is almost non-existent, a place where life clings to existence in the most extreme conditions. We find such a place in the McMurdo Dry Valleys of Antarctica, a truly unique region. What makes it so special? Unlike the rest of the icy continent, you won't find glaciers here. In this polar desert, ice struggles to form. Why? Because it simply hasn't rained for millions upon millions of years. And snow? It's just as rare. Ferocious winds, howling down from the mountains, reach speeds of up to 200 miles per hour. Just imagine trying to stand your ground in such a gale. These winds, though carrying moisture, paradoxically prevent precipitation. As they rush across the landscape, they heat up, evaporating any liquid or snow before it can settle. Only the driest air ever touches the ground. Yet even here, we find a few lakes defying the odds. They remain liquid, never freezing, thanks to an incredibly high concentration of salt. The water is so saturated that large life forms cannot survive. However, even in this harsh environment, scientists have discovered microscopic organisms eking out an existence. But let's journey back in time, some 20 million years. Picture Antarctica as a completely different world. A lush, vibrant landscape filled with swamps, towering trees, and teeming with insects and animals. Now, it more closely resembles the surface of Mars. In fact, scientists and astronauts study regions like the McMurdo Dry Valleys, precisely because their conditions mirror those of the Red Planet. It's a chance to practice living in a Martian-like environment right here on Earth. And that's not all Antarctica has to offer. Scientists have also discovered a hidden underwater world teeming with life, including hundreds of amphipods. Small crustacean animals similar to shrimp. Now, let's clarify something that can be confusing. The difference between the Antarctic and the Arctic. The Antarctic is the region at the southernmost part of our planet, encompassing the continent of Antarctica. The Arctic, on the other hand, is located at the North Pole. While both regions share similar conditions of frost, ice, and snow, they are geographically distinct and located at opposite ends of the Earth. Returning to our discoveries, scientists theorize that beneath the Antarctic ice lies a vast network of freshwater rivers and lakes. In 2022, they uncovered a brand new ecosystem. Researchers explored the Antarctic Ross Ice Shelf, a massive floating piece of ice, and its underwater rivers. A team from New Zealand used a specialized drilling rig, equipped with a hot water supply, to bore a hole 1,640 feet deep. That's taller than the Empire State Building. They then lowered video cameras into the abyss and were astonished to see thousands of crustaceans swimming in every direction, a seemingly chaotic ballet of life. The waters of Antarctica are also home to some of the most unsettling creatures on the planet. Sea spiders. Despite their name, they are not true spiders, but a unique species of marine arthropods. Unlike their terrestrial counterparts, these ocean dwellers can grow to enormous sizes. Imagine a spider the size of a dinner plate. They appear as nothing more than 8 spindly legs without a body. Some are eyeless, and instead of jaws, they possess a proboscis. Sea spiders remain poorly understood due to their preference for deep, frigid waters. Antarctica, in general, continues to conceal a multitude of little-known animals. Long tunnels snake through its glaciers, leading into chilling darkness. Within this icy continent, the remains of giant dinosaurs and other ancient creatures have been discovered, including the ancestors of modern ducks. Countless underground rivers and lakes hide unexplored wildlife. Even the ice itself can be bizarre and beautiful. Consider the striped icebergs, adorned with blue, black, green, and turquoise patterns. The colors are dictated by the conditions of the water during freezing. Green stripes, for instance, are caused by algae, while blue stripes emerge when the water freezes exceptionally quickly. Imagine a place untouched by time zones, a place where the sun performs its celestial ballet, rising and setting only once each year. For over 4 centuries, stretching back to the reign of King Henry VII, this elusive spot, the North Pole, beckoned explorers from every corner of the globe. Some sought a fabled northwest or northeast passage, a shortcut to the riches of China and the Indies. Others were driven by sheer curiosity, an irresistible urge to witness the Arctic's mysteries firsthand. In 1773, the British Royal Navy, in a testament to the era's scientific fervor, launched the first official expedition to the North Pole. Command fell to Constantine Phipps, who bravely volunteered to lead the charge. The journey proved arduous, the 2 ships struggling against the relentless grip of thick ice. Smaller boats were required to tow the larger vessels, inching their way forward. At one point, Phipps, gazing upon a seemingly endless expanse of frozen sea, considered abandoning the ships altogether. But fortune favored them. They broke free from the icy clutches and limped back to open water, returning home without achieving their ultimate ambition. Years later, in 1882, the American explorer James Booth Lockwood managed to penetrate further north than any before him. But the Arctic demanded a heavy toll. By that time, at least 750 souls across 42 separate expeditions had perished in the attempt to conquer the pole. Then, on a momentous day, September 7th, 1909, the New York Times blazed with a sensational headline: Peary discovers the North Pole. After 8 long attempts spanning 23 years, Robert E. Peary, an American explorer, declared victory, claiming to have reached the coveted point in April of that year. But in those days, news traveled at a snail's pace, and the message only reached New York months later. Just a week prior, the New York Herald had proclaimed its own earth-shattering scoop. The North Pole is covered by Dr. Frederick Cook. Cook, another American explorer, had vanished into the Arctic wastes over a year prior and had successfully convinced many that he had reached the pole in April 1908, a full year before Peary's claim. The problem? Proving these claims was incredibly difficult. Unlike the South Pole, a solid landmass, the North Pole sits upon shifting sea ice. A flag or marker would be meaningless, lost to the relentless movement of the ice. A detailed travel diary, meticulously documenting daily distances, celestial observations, and other crucial data, would serve as powerful evidence. But neither Cook nor Peary could produce such a record. Thus began a bitter battle for recognition, each man launching a campaign to establish his honesty and trustworthiness. For years, Peary was hailed as the discoverer of the North Pole. But in 1988, the National Geographic Society re-examined the evidence and concluded that Peary's records simply did not substantiate his claim. Cook's claim, however, remained neither proven nor disproven, lost in the mists of time. Sir Hubert Wilkins, an Australian-born British explorer, embarked on his first Arctic expedition in 1913. It was then that he conceived a daring plan to conquer the North Pole by submarine. In 1931, he secured the loan of a specialized submarine, the O-12, from the U.S. Navy. This ambitious mission had 2 primary objectives: to conduct scientific experiments both on the surface and beneath the ice, and to ultimately reach the North Pole by traversing the frigid depths. The team planned to study the weather, measure temperatures, and collect water samples from both the surface and the ocean floor. The submarine, under Sir Hubert's command, was transported to a New Jersey shipyard for extensive modifications. Cutting-edge scientific equipment was installed, and the exterior was reinforced to withstand the crushing pressures of underwater navigation beneath the ice. On March 16th, the submarine departed the shipyard, bound for the Brooklyn Navy Yard in New York. But even before leaving the Delaware River, the expedition was beset by delays. A fierce snowstorm forced a stop at the Philadelphia Navy Yard, and another delay occurred to replenish fuel supplies. As the submarine entered New York Harbor, a crew member barely 27 years old. Tragedy struck early when a crew member just years old tragically fell overboard and perished. In somber recognition, the submarine underwent an official renaming, becoming the Nautilus. A poignant moment marked the occasion. Jules Verne's grandson, the very author who penned 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, the inspiration for the vessel's new moniker, was present to witness the transformation. Before embarking on their ambitious journey, the crew rigorously tested the Nautilus in various locations off the New England coast. However, their endeavors were met with criticism, and already they were lagging 2 months behind schedule. A decision was made. They would proceed directly to England. The Atlantic crossing proved treacherous. They sailed directly into a series of brutal storms. On June 13th, disaster struck. The starboard engine failed. Compounding the crisis, the port engine, pushed beyond its limits, also gave out. Throughout the ordeal, Sir Hubert Wilkins maintained constant radio contact, relaying the submarine's position back to the United States. With both engines dead, a desperate SOS was transmitted. On June 15th, the USS Wyoming, a behemoth of a ship engaged in a training cruise with naval students, responded to the call. The Wyoming took the crippled Nautilus in tow, dragging the broken submarine to Queenstown, Ireland. From there, it was transported to Devonport, England, for extensive repairs. The wait for crucial spare parts from the United States stretched on, causing further delays. Finally, with the Nautilus restored, they set course for Bergen, Norway. There they rendezvoused with submarine science officers and acquired additional equipment. A critical addition in Bergen was a diving chamber. This ingenious device allowed them to deploy scientific tools into the depths through a specialized hatch. August 5th marked a pivotal moment. The Nautilus, at long last, departed Bergen, heading north in pursuit of ice floes. Mechanical woes and relentless storms continued to plague their progress. One particularly violent storm tilted the submarine at terrifying angles. Then, on August 19th, the first ice floe came into view. For several days, they cautiously followed the ice's edge, searching for an ideal location to attempt to dive. 3 days later, they prepared to submerge beneath the ice, only to discover a devastating problem. The submarine's diving rudders were missing. A diver was sent to investigate, revealing a shocking truth: the rudders had been deliberately broken off. Wilkins was convinced that sabotage was at play, suspecting a member of the crew who opposed the mission. Despite this setback, Wilkins remained determined to conduct his scientific experiments. On the last day of August, they devised a plan to force the Nautilus beneath a 3-foot-thick ice floe. By carefully filling the ballast tanks and adjusting the trim, they managed to execute several dives under the ice. After days of persistent research attempts, Wilkins concluded that remaining at sea was too perilous. The Nautilus limped into Svalbard, the Norwegian archipelago nestled between mainland Norway and the North Pole, on September 8th. They had weathered the worst storm of the entire voyage. The initial plan was to proceed to a port in England, but another fierce storm inflicted significant damage, causing the engines to fail yet again. They were forced to seek refuge in Bergen once more. With authorization from the United States Shipping Board, the Nautilus was towed out of Bergen and deliberately sunk in a Norwegian fjord on November 13, 1931. Decades later, in 1958, a U.S. submarine bearing the same illustrious name, Nautilus, achieved a historic feat. This vessel became the first to reach the North Pole by traversing beneath the ice. This Nautilus was a marvel of engineering, dwarfing its predecessor in size. It measured an impressive 319 feet in length and displaced a staggering 3,590 tons. In stark contrast, the original Nautilus was a mere 175 feet long. Unlike conventional submarines, the new Nautilus possessed the remarkable ability to remain submerged for extended periods. This was thanks to its revolutionary atomic engine, which required no atmospheric oxygen and consumed only a minuscule amount of nuclear fuel. On July 23, 1958, it embarked on Operation Sunshine from Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. The crew consisted of 116 souls: Commander Anderson, 111 officers and crewmen, and 4 civilian scientists. The Nautilus journeyed north through the Bering Strait, surfacing only once at Point Barrow, Alaska, on August. Imagine this: a nuclear submarine, a vessel of immense power and technological prowess, slips beneath the waves off the northern coast of Alaska. It's a silent hunter, diving deep under the Arctic ice cap. The date is August 3rd. The submarine, christened the Nautilus, descends to a depth of 500 feet, a world of crushing pressure and near-total darkness. Above, a ceiling of ice, a frigid labyrinth ranging from 10 to 50 feet in thickness. Then, at 11:15 p.m., the moment arrives. Commander Anderson, a man carrying the weight of history on his shoulders, announces to his crew that they are about to make history. "For the world, our country, and the Navy," he declares, "the North Pole and the Nautilus are about to converge." And just like that, the Nautilus passes directly beneath the North Pole, a feat of daring and engineering. But the adventure doesn't end there. On August 5th, the submarine breaches the surface once more, this time in the Greenland Sea, a vast expanse of frigid water. 2 days later, the Nautilus completes its epic voyage, arriving in Iceland, a land of fire and ice. Now, fast forward to another realm of geological drama. Picture the ground beneath your feet trembling violently. A low rumble escalates into a deafening roar. The air fills with the acrid stench of sulfur as clouds of noxious gas billow into the sky, blotting out the sun and plunging the landscape into an eerie twilight, even in the middle of the day. The earth itself begins to contort, swelling, cracking, and collapsing in on itself. These are the unmistakable harbingers of a volcanic eruption. This is not some distant fantasy. This scenario could very well unfold with Mount Spur, a volcano situated a mere 75 miles from Anchorage, Alaska. This city is not just any settlement, it's a vital hub, home to over half the population of Alaska. Moreover, Anchorage's international airport serves as a critical transit point for a massive volume of air cargo every single day. Therefore, any sign of unrest from a volcano so close to this vital artery of commerce and population is cause for serious concern. Consider this alarming statistic. Approximately 550 million people worldwide live within the danger zone of an active volcano. That's roughly 1 out of every 20 people on Earth living under the shadow of potential volcanic devastation. And right now, the residents of Alaska have every reason to be on edge. The Alaska Volcano Observatory has detected a surge of activity at Mount Spur, prompting them to raise the alert level to yellow. This designation signifies that the volcano is exhibiting signs of unrest above normal background levels. Spur has already erupted twice in the 1990s, unleashing a display of raw power. On a scale of volcanic eruptions ranging from 1 to 10, these events would register as a 6 or 7. While not cataclysmic, they still inflicted a substantial $10 to $17 million in damages. However, these figures pale in comparison to the havoc wreaked by the 1989 eruption of Mount Redoubt, another Alaskan volcano. That eruption caused a staggering $345 million in damages, primarily due to the impact of volcanic ash on aircraft engines. A stark example is the KLM 747 that suffered a complete engine failure after ingesting the abrasive ash. If anyone had been complacent about Alaska's volatile geology before that event, the Redoubt eruption served as a brutal wake-up call. The potential hazards of volcanic activity are often exemplified by the tragic fate of Pompeii, Italy, a city buried under a tidal wave of molten rock. While Mount Spur may seem tame in comparison to Vesuvius, its previous eruptions have had significant consequences. During its last eruption in the 90s, Spur ejected volcanic aerosols to an altitude of over 60,000 feet into the atmosphere. Let's delve into the science behind this phenomenon. Volcanic aerosols are essentially liquid particles suspended in the atmosphere, released during an eruption. These particles are typically formed when volcanic gases, such as sulfur dioxide, combine with water and other atmospheric particles. These aerosols can have a cooling effect on the Earth's surface by reflecting sunlight back into space. However, they can also linger in the atmosphere for years after an eruption, leading to various health problems. The eruption also unleashed blazing fast avalanches of hot gas and ash, known as pyroclastic flows, along with thick, muddy floods called lahars. And then there were the massive volcanic boulders, chunks of rock, some exceeding 3 feet in diameter, that were ejected from the volcano like nature's cannonballs, landing more than 6 miles away. The intense volcanic heat even melted a portion of a nearby glacier, triggering even more chaos. Imagine the force of nature unleashed. Mount Spur, having its say, sending forth debris flows that acted as architects of destruction and creation. These flows didn't just obliterate, they also dammed the Chakachutna River, birthing a brand new lake along the valley. From the ashes of Spur's eruption, a vital lesson emerged. Vigilance pays. The local monitoring systems were instrumental in mitigating the economic fallout of the eruption, especially crucial for a city with bustling air traffic. Spur is currently labeled as dormant, slumbering, but the threat remains. It could awaken at any moment. Volcanoes exist in a state of flux, categorized as active, dormant, or extinct, based on their activity levels. If a volcano is active, it grumbles, erupts, and makes its presence known with relative frequency. Dormant means it has shown recent activity, but is currently subdued, biding its time. Extinct signifies a long period of silence, leading us to believe its fiery days are over. Consider Mount St. Helens, one of the United States' most treacherous active volcanoes. This geological giant holds the record for the most powerful eruption in U.S. history. Its last cataclysmic outburst was so immense that it sheared off approximately 300 feet from its summit. The mountain's peak simply vanished. And if you were impressed by Mount Spur's ash cloud, St. Helens dwarfs it. It launched ash a staggering 880,000 feet into the atmosphere, plunging eastern Washington into complete darkness. But the spectacle of ash was only part of the story. In a mere 3 minutes, the eruption unleashed 3.7 billion cubic yards of blazing rock and dust. That's enough material to fill 1 million Olympic-sized swimming pools, blanketing 230 square miles of verdant forest. The earthquakes that foreshadowed the eruption began weeks before that fateful day, May 18, 1980. A ground-shaking tremor of magnitude 5.0 triggered a landslide on the volcano's flank. By the end of the eruption, 57 lives were lost. Nearly 7,000 big-game animals, such as deer and elk, were annihilated, and countless birds lay scattered across the scorched earth. Researchers believe that St. Helens is unlikely to unleash a similar eruption anytime soon, but they maintain a watchful eye. This volcano is far from finished. The very word volcano has its roots in Roman mythology, derived from Vulcan, the Roman god of fire. Volcanoes often form at the convergence of tectonic plates, the Earth's fragmented surface, pieces that interlock like a jigsaw puzzle. The Pacific Ocean's Ring of Fire is the world's most hazardous zone for volcanic activity. It contains between 750 and 950 active volcanoes. Within this fiery ring lies Mauna Loa, the largest volcano and the largest active volcano on Earth. Towering over 13,000 feet high, it is located in Hawaii. Scientists estimate that Mauna Loa has been erupting for at least 700,000 years. Its most recent eruption commenced on November 27, 2022, and continued until December 13th. After a period of quiet since the 1980s, it decided to awaken once more. Thanks to diligent monitoring by the Hawaiian Volcano Observatory, the eruption caused no casualties. Scientists are making considerable investments in volcanic monitoring, not only to mitigate economic risks, but also to safeguard lives. One recent endeavor involves drilling into volcanoes. A team of scientists journeyed to Iceland, a global volcanic hotspot. Iceland boasts approximately 33 active volcanoes. Among them, the Krafla volcano stands out. Krafla has erupted roughly 30 times in the past 1,000 years, with its most recent eruption occurring in the mid-1980s. The Krafla Magma Testbed Project, or KMT for short, aims to deepen our understanding of magma's behavior beneath the Earth's surface. And the most significant advantage of this deep Earth drilling isn't just about anticipating volcanic eruptions, it's about unlocking the potential of geothermal energy. Imagine a world powered by the inexhaustible energy of volcanoes. The dedicated team at KMT is scheduled to commence drilling operations in 2027, boring deep into the volcanic Earth. Their ambitious goal? To penetrate over a mile beneath the surface. After all, monitoring volcanic activity on the surface is one thing, but understanding what's happening deep below is quite another. This project will allow researchers to listen to the very heartbeat of our planet, to understand the forces at play far beneath our feet. The researchers themselves boldly claim that this research is as revolutionary as humanity's first steps on the moon. And speaking of celestial bodies, prepare to be amazed. Volcanoes are not unique to Earth. They exist throughout our solar system. Yes, other planets and moons bear the marks of ancient volcanic activity. The undisputed champion, the largest volcano in our solar system, is Olympus Mons on Mars. This colossal shield volcano, akin to those forming the Hawaiian Islands, stretches an incredible 370 miles in diameter. Imagine transporting it back to Earth. It would nearly blanket the entirety of Poland. Now, let's turn our attention to a mysterious anomaly in Antarctica. Some have speculated it's Bigfoot's secret getaway, a hidden Star Trek shuttlecraft, or even a portal to Agartha, the mythical subterranean kingdom. But fear not, science has stepped in to debunk these fantastical theories. What appears to be a mysterious doorway is, in reality, located in an area of fast sea ice just offshore. Here, a landscape dotted with small islands and shallow waters creates the illusion. As ice flows around submerged, unyielding rocks, it sculpts patterns that, while unusual, are perfectly natural for this environment. The ice in this region is relatively thin, allowing the underlying rocks to exert a significant influence on its movement. The relentless Antarctic winds further sculpt the ice and snow, creating linear patterns and shapes. The mysterious doorway, therefore, is simply a rocky ridge protruding from the ice, exposed by a slight melting. The top of the doorway is the tip of the rock, while the sides are snowy trails carved by powerful winds consistently blowing in the same direction. In essence, it's an iceberg, stranded and slowly melting in place. In another intriguing Antarctic find, a YouTuber stumbled upon what appeared to be a massive, unidentified object more than 150 meters off the coast, a colossal 400-foot-long ice ship. The internet exploded with theories, some suggesting it was a vessel transported from the infamous Bermuda Triangle. However, scientific evidence was lacking to support the claim that it was a ship. In fact, when other internet sleuths revisited the location, they found that the ice had melted during the summer, and the hypothetical ship had vanished. Another enigma uncovered through Google Maps in Antarctica was a structure resembling a pyramid. Before you conjure images of ancient Egyptians establishing a secret base in the icy south, the truth is far less sensational. It turned out to be merely a mountain, part of the extensive and imposing mountain range that stretches for almost 250 miles across the continent. This isn't the first pyramid-shaped mountain discovered in Antarctica. Explorers from the British Antarctic Expedition had previously identified another unusually shaped peak and dubbed it the Pyramid, though it lacked even the basic form of a pyramid. But fear not, for there are genuine Antarctic wonders to behold. Scientists discovered a vast ice shelf that evoked images of the Grand Canyon. A specialized submarine robot, christened RAN, traversed over 600 meters beneath the thick ice, capturing breathtaking footage of icy mountains, valleys, flat plateaus, and swirling patterns sculpted entirely from ice. Among the most peculiar discoveries were enormous, ball-shaped holes, or scoops, in the ice. Sadly, during its exploration, the scientists lost contact with their robotic explorer, RAN. Perhaps some inquisitive Weddell seals, those playful denizens of the deep, inadvertently nudged the robot, causing it to become irretrievably lodged. To conserve its dwindling energy reserves, the robot likely initiated a shutdown sequence, leaving the scientists unable to re-establish contact. But the team remains undeterred, harboring aspirations to construct a new and improved robotic explorer. The ultimate goal? To resume the exploration of this subglacial canyon, meticulously documenting the evolving patterns beneath the ice sheet over the years to come. In a separate, serendipitous discovery, another colossal Antarctic canyon was brought to light, ironically, by inclement weather. A team of acoustic specialists, temporarily sidelined from their duties at the Casey Research Station due to a fierce storm, decided to capitalize on their unexpected downtime. Their solution was to map the ocean floor in the vicinity of the Adams Glacier. This impromptu endeavor unveiled a canyon of truly staggering proportions, plunging to depths of nearly 7,000 feet, spanning a width of almost 30,000 feet, and stretching for over 28 miles from the glacier's edge. Initial mapping efforts captured only a fraction of the canyon's immensity before the team was compelled to return to the research station. However, when another bout of severe weather descended, the research vessel once again ventured out to complete the mapping of the canyon. The team battled formidable conditions, waves reaching heights of 13 feet, and gale force winds, but they persevered, ultimately securing approximately 15 hours of invaluable data to finalize their map. During their return voyage to Australia, the team made one final stop, culminating in a comprehensive depiction of the canyon's full extent. Detailed analysis of this underwater feature is providing scientists with unprecedented insights into the long history of glacial activity and the intricate interplay between the Antarctic ice sheet and the surrounding ocean. Now, Let's turn our attention to another Antarctic enigma. Lake Enigma, a body of water long believed to be entirely frozen solid. However, during a daring expedition, researchers made a startling revelation. Beneath the seemingly impenetrable ice, a layer of liquid water, approximately 40 feet deep, was discovered. Eager to unravel the secrets concealed within the lake's depths, the team drilled through the ice and deployed a specialized camera. The water, believed to originate from the nearby amorphous glacier via a hidden subterranean channel, teemed with bizarre microbial life. These microscopic organisms formed intricate mats covering the lakebed. These mats exhibited a remarkable diversity of forms. Some were delicate and spiky, while others resembled crumpled carpets or even miniature tree-like structures, reaching heights of up to 16 inches. Remarkably, many of these microbes possessed the ability to produce their own sustenance through photosynthesis, mirroring the process employed by plants. This photosynthetic activity resulted in an unusually high concentration of oxygen within the lake's waters. One of the most intriguing discoveries was the presence of a type of microbe typically found in oxygen-deprived environments. This discovery suggests that Lake Enigma may bear similarities to environments found on icy moons, such as Europa or Enceladus, raising the tantalizing possibility that these celestial bodies may also harbor hidden reservoirs of water beneath their icy surfaces, potentially teeming with microbial life. And the surprises don't end there. In another astounding find, minuscule fragments of amber were unearthed within Antarctic mudstone. This discovery marked the very first time that amber had been found on the continent. Years of painstaking analysis of remarkably well-preserved fossilized roots, pollen, and spores, initially discovered in 2017, provided conclusive proof that resin-producing trees once flourished in Antarctica. These trees were part of a verdant rainforest that thrived near the South Pole during the mid-Cretaceous period. Back then, and let's be clear, I wasn't around to witness it. These trees faced a formidable challenge, enduring months of perpetual darkness during the long Antarctic winters. Scientists hypothesized that they adapted to these extreme conditions by entering a prolonged state of dormancy. The amber fragments recovered by the scientists, though small, displayed beautiful hues of yellow and orange, their bumpy surfaces providing a tangible record of the resin's flow from the trees. This resin likely served as a protective barrier against insect infestations. Its remarkable preservation can be attributed to rapid submersion in water, shielding it from the degrading effects of sunlight and air. In a lighter vein, a scientist, while scrutinizing satellite imagery for telltale brown trails of penguin guano, stumbled upon 4 previously undocumented colonies of emperor penguins nestled at the edge of the globe. These newly identified colonies have likely existed for many years. We find 3 of these penguin colonies to be relatively small, each home to fewer than 1,000 breeding pairs. Each of these newly discovered colonies sits remarkably close to the Lazar ice shelf. This location is significant because it was once the site of a much larger penguin colony. Scientists had believed this original colony vanished around 2019. However, it now appears the penguins simply relocated due to shifting sea ice conditions. Studying these resilient creatures provides invaluable insight into how emperor penguins adapt to the ever-changing environmental challenges they face. Now, let's journey back tens of millions of years to a time when Antarctica looked very different. Imagine a giant river system carving its way across the landscape. Researchers have unearthed compelling evidence of this ancient river hidden beneath the frozen seabed. By meticulously examining soft sediments and hardened rocks, they've pieced together a picture of this prehistoric waterway. They analyzed minute traces of radioactive elements, such as uranium and lead, to determine the age of the sediment layers. The deeper layers, dating back to the age of dinosaurs, told one story. The younger layers, closer to the surface, revealed a pattern strikingly similar to modern river deltas, like those of the Mississippi River or the Rio Grande. Within the sandy deposits, scientists even discovered subtle signs of life that once thrived in this river system. Originating in the Transantarctic Mountains, this colossal river flowed for an impressive 930 miles before emptying into the sea. Researchers continue to investigate newer layers of sediment dating back approximately 20 million years. Their hope is that these studies will unlock secrets about Earth's past climate and help predict future weather patterns. Consider, if you will, Lake Enigma, a name that perfectly captures its mysterious nature. Its very existence defies expectations. But now, the discovery of life deep beneath its icy surface presents an even greater enigma. This finding could potentially assist NASA in its search for life beyond our planet. This lake is buried deep within the icy expanse of Antarctica. It isn't a typical pool of water. Rather, it was believed to be a solid block of ice. However, recent explorations by Italian scientists have revealed a secret hidden for ages. A genuine body of water teeming with life. Microorganisms of various kinds, and even some unusual small predators, thrive in this extreme environment. Lake Enigma is located in a remote and unforgiving region of our planet, specifically in northern Victoria Land, Antarctica. The entire South Pole is known for its frigid temperatures, but this particular area experiences temperatures that can plummet to a terrifying 40 Fahrenheit. The average temperature hovers around a chilling point. As we've said, this lake shouldn't even exist. Antarctica is technically the largest desert on Earth, despite its icy covering, because it's incredibly dry. Rainfall is virtually non-existent, snowfall is minimal, and the sun's rays barely cause any evaporation. And if any water does manage to accumulate, the relentless winds quickly dry everything out. If we put on our thinking caps, we'd expect this lake to lose an astounding 7 million cubic feet of water annually. Yet, the water remains. The reason for this remains a mystery. Scientists speculate that an underground source may be constantly replenishing the lake, whether it be deep underground rivers, melting ice, or something else entirely. Hence, the name Enigma. The thick block of ice above the lake is a permanent feature, measuring at least 36 feet thick, taller than a 3-story building. Researchers decided to investigate what lies beneath this icy barrier. They employed a technique called ground-penetrating radar, a sophisticated echo detection system for the ground. This radar emits invisible radio waves into the Earth. When these waves encounter something underground, such as rocks, water, or other materials, they bounce back to the device. By measuring the time it takes for the signal to return and its strength, scientists can determine the distance and composition of the object the radar encountered. This is similar to how animals like bats, whales, and dolphins use echolocation to navigate underwater. Humans have adopted this ingenious natural technique to study buried structures. Imagine a world hidden beneath a thick, icy blanket. Using specialized equipment, scientists meticulously scanned the entire surface surrounding Lake Enigma. Like detectives piecing together a puzzle, they constructed a detailed map of this subglacial realm, a world submerged beneath the icy depths. The real revelation wasn't just the existence of this hidden world, but the unique ecosystem teeming within. While no mythical monsters or alien secrets were uncovered, the discovery of microorganisms, unlike any found elsewhere on Earth, sent ripples of excitement through the scientific community. Somehow, these resilient creatures have carved out an existence in complete isolation, enduring unimaginable cold and darkness. These aren't entirely unfamiliar microorganisms. We've encountered their relatives before. But down here, they've taken on a life of their own. Among the inhabitants are members of the Bacteroidida group. These microscopic workhorses excel at breaking down complex molecules, particularly in digestive systems, aiding in the breakdown of tough plant fibers. While they often reside within us, they can occasionally be found in soils and oceans. Then there are the actinobacteriota, the ingenious chemists of the bacterial world. They decompose organic matter, enriching the soil. Astonishingly, they are also responsible for producing many of the antibiotics that underpin modern medicine. We owe them a great debt. The presence of Pseudomonodota wasn't entirely unexpected. These adaptable organisms can thrive in a remarkable range of environments, from soil and water to the human body. Some are beneficial, assisting plant growth and nutrient cycling, while others can become opportunistic pathogens, the bad guys of the microscopic world. But the real surprise? The abundance of Patacibacteria in Lake Enigma. These ultra-small microorganisms, even by microscopic standards, possess limited capabilities. They thrive through symbiosis or as tiny parasites, relying on host organisms for nutrients and survival. These microscopic inhabitants may be ancient, perhaps remnants of a time before the lake was completely entombed in ice, hundreds of thousands of years ago. Encountering these bacteria, particularly the parasitic Patacibacteria, in Lake Enigma is truly peculiar. Patacibacteria typically favor low oxygen environments, yet this lake is rich with oxygen, capped by nearly 40 feet of ice. All this suggests that while we may recognize these types of bacteria, these specific species may be entirely new to science. They could have evolved unique adaptations and abilities, exploiting the lake's unusual chemistry to survive. They likely depend on a simple and delicate food web. Some microorganisms harness energy from the faint light that penetrates the ice, or from the lake's chemical composition. The symbiotic bacteria likely thrive by living on or within their neighbors. Even in this extreme environment, microscopic predators and prey engage in a constant battle for survival. Unraveling the secrets of their survival could unlock new knowledge in chemistry, medicine, and even our understanding of extraterrestrial life. If life can persist in such extreme conditions, it could potentially exist in many places, even on our closest celestial neighbors, such as Europa or Enceladus, the moons of Jupiter and Saturn. These moons are believed to harbor oceans beneath their icy shells, raising the exciting possibility of life beyond Earth. Antarctica offers a glimpse into the challenges and possibilities of extraterrestrial exploration before we even set foot on other planets. It is a treasure trove of hidden mysteries and astonishing creatures, even beyond Lake Enigma. Consider the McMurdo Dry Valleys, often called Earth's Mars. These valleys, stretching across Victoria Land in Antarctica, are among the most extreme and arid environments on our planet. The name might mislead you, but unlike most of the South Pole, this region is almost entirely free of snow and ice. Imagine a landscape of supercooled ground, where you might even find sand dunes nestled between rugged mountains. The surface is primarily loose gravel, scattered with ancient rocks of granite and something called gneiss, pronounced nice. Gneiss is a metamorphic rock, a testament to immense geological forces. It forms when granite and sedimentary rocks endure incredible pressure and heat over vast stretches of time, a process known as metamorphism. These extreme conditions actually rearrange the minerals within the rock, creating distinct layers. This gives gneiss its beautiful foliated appearance, like a layered cake baked by the planet itself. What makes this place so remarkable is that it remains almost unchanged from millions of years ago. These valleys are frozen in time, offering a glimpse into Earth's distant past, and that includes the life that persists here. Local winds are absolutely ferocious, with gusts of frigid air racing downhill, evaporating snow faster than it can melt. Logically, you wouldn't expect to find much water, let alone life. Yet somehow frozen lakes and saline ponds dot the dry valleys. The life that exists here defies our understanding of biology. It thrives within the rocks themselves. Microorganisms hide in the slightly moist cracks and crevices deep inside. We find endolithic bacteria here. These organisms have a unique lifestyle. Instead of moving around, they remain stationary within their rocky homes. How do they survive? Through photosynthesis, just like plants. They capture the minuscule amounts of light that penetrate the crevices, acting like tiny solar panels to gather energy from the sun. Meanwhile, beneath the Taylor Glacier, bacteria exist that consume practically nothing. No sunlight, no organic matter, not even oxygen. These extraordinary organisms rely on a diet of dusty rocks and sulfur to fuel their unusual metabolisms. By breaking down sulfur and iron, they extract the energy they need to survive. This allows them to thrive in deep, sub-freezing environments, completely isolated from sunlight, oxygen, and the outside world. This place is fascinating for both the life it harbors and the life it lacks. In some parts of the valleys, such as University Valley, the permafrost is so extreme that no microbes have been found. This might be one of the only places on Earth where life appears to be entirely absent. A rather unsettling thought. Scientists are now considering further exploration of Lake Enigma, with plans to drill into this Mars-like environment. The goal? To collect samples and learn how we might obtain samples from Mars in the future, seeking to understand life's potential even in the most extreme conditions.